All right, looks like we're live. Hey, what's up? This is Dave. This is What's Up Dave, my twice a week stream. It used to be daily. Twice a week stream where I just catch up with my friends on the internet. Just confirm that we have audio. I don't hear anything. Why is that? I think it's because my audio is turned way down. All right, so that's working now. So, yeah, it's Thursday, March 29. This is the first week when I'm doing my twice a week schedule. The week before I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The idea to give myself 2 days during the week where I didn't have to worry about doing the live stream, having things to talk about, and then also writing a blog post. Those 2 days would be devoted to other work where I could just kind of just ease into it. And I think I like this balance. 2 times a week gives me enough time to catch up and collect things to talk about. And I'm also getting more work done, and I'm feeling a little bit less under the gun for like how do I do the stream and how do I do the blog posts and how do I do all these other things. I don't think I handle having very many things to do at once. There's a kind of weird, I call it task gloom that comes over me when I actually have to do anything. So it's a flaw in my character, or it's a undiagnosed childhood something. But that's actually what I wrote about in the blog post today. It's not live yet, but we'll go through that. So anyway, let's go through what we're going to talk about today. Accordingly, we're going to do laptop stickers. The coding experience, the work I've been doing recently, has been related to writing new code modules using new techniques, and I've been finding it really challenging and frustrating. And I don't know if it's because I'm old or like my mind is going or whatever, but it'll be interesting to just kind of briefly touch upon that. Then I got this mystery package, or something I don't remember ordering, and it's from Cards Against Humanity. I mean, did someone send me something? Okay, so like here's the package, and I have no idea what it is. I assume it's not something like a bomb or something, it's going around. But if this turns out badly, I guess people might know about it. All right, so let's get into the laptop stickers things, because that's more fun. So here's the back of my laptop. I'm trying to show it. Oh, this whole thing just jumped up. It's annoying. So there's the back of my laptop, and I've been trying to put more stickers on it. And what stickers? I don't go to enough conferences to have lots of stickers, so I've been starting to collect them. The stickers I have on there now are one from my friend Gary, who runs a vintage Lambretta restoration service. Makes beautiful, beautiful moldings and reproduction pieces. Really, really talented guy. The other two are from an illustrator named Debbie Fong, who I believe is Taiwanese or half Taiwanese, that does cute illustration stuff. I had gone over what the stuff I got from her before. And one thing I became recently aware of, as I think I shared these, is I love Sam and Max, which is this cartoon character. Cartoon characters from my past. This is an example of one of the trade paperbacks that came out. This is not the original one I have, but it's this dog and this rabbit who are freelance police and are kind of horrible in the milk and cheese sort of way, but they are anthropomorphic instead of like stale milk and cheese. If you like Evan Dorkin and his stuff. So I've been trying to find like the appropriate stickers that go along with it. So over here this is the vintage 8-bit version from Sam Max Hit the Road, the LucasArts adventure game from 1993. This one over here I think is a more recent rendition of them from, I'm guessing, one of the Telltale games. Telltale made another Sam and Max 3D adventure several years ago. And this Max over here might be be from that era too. Now I'm leaning toward this one because it's very clean, but I kind of want both of them. And this illustration looks like it's taken from one of the comic book color collections. And the thing that's maybe skeeving me out a little bit is like I'm pretty sure that these were not licensed at all. So I got these from Redbubble, which is a print-on-demand company. That you order something, they print it, and they send it to you. An interesting thing, though, is that there's custom die cutting on this. I don't know if you can see this, but if you look closely at it, you can see the outline that's going around it. That's laser cut or something. And the idea that I can get laser cut stuff, because they're printing them on these. I think these must be print on demand. So the idea of doing print on demand stickers is kind of exciting. I'm gonna have to look into seeing if my printer can do that stuff, because if I would like to do an illustration challenge for myself when I start designing my own characters, because I love illustration, but I've always been too chicken to do it. The only thing I've really drawn is spaceships, and even then I was not really all that good at it. I could never draw perspective. Anyway, so those are laptop stickers. I'm gonna decide which ones to put on the back. I'm leaning towards maybe these three. These three, but maybe I'll only put one of them, and I'll find some other surfaces to put them on. If I had to pick one, which one should it be? That's the question. I am leaning toward this one on the top, just because it says "blah," and it would stick out nicely. It's recognizable. All right. So what else? What else am I talking about today? Old programmer, new-fangled code. Let's talk about that. So I've been working on this code base, and I started this 2 weeks ago, thinking maybe it would take me 3 good days to implement. Then I could get on with my life and start doing more other interesting things. But now I'm on week 2 of it now, and this is 2 weeks of having clear focus. Once I discovered that diet was affecting my mental clarity. And so it's been kind of frustrating, and I was kind of angry about it. I've been writing about it in this blog post. And let me see what I wrote about that. This isn't live yet, but after the live stream is done, I will update this bottom section here. But the general idea was, I'm trying to consolidate about 12 different kinds of asynchronous events, and these are how do you handle something happening in your program and writing code to react to it. There's a lot of different strategies to do it, and I've found at least 12 different asynchronous examples of this that are all handled a little bit differently. It'd be great if there was only 1 or 2 ways to do that. And so after working out what all those were, coming up with the one way of doing it was exciting. And so theoretically I just needed to write it, and I'd written code in the past that could do stuff like this, so I just needed to pick one. But I'm not going to say mistake, my unanticipated challenge moment was using something new in JavaScript called promises. And what a promise is a code. It's an code object that converts old-style asynchronous code into this idea of essentially. The name describes it, the promise. When this happens, then I will tell you, or then I will fulfill that. Fulfill your request, and then you know that you can go on and do the next step. For example, I may ask someone, if in a real world example, I'll ask Charlie to go get me something, and when he's done getting it, just deliver it to me so I can do the next thing with this thing that he's getting me. Charlie, get me a cookie so then I can eat it. In naive code, you might just issue Charlie, get me the cookie, and then where's the cookie? Where's the cookie? Where's the cookie? You actually had to wait, and you could write code that says, is the cookie ready yet? 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 But that's inefficient, and you can't really do anything else. Then you end up writing what's called a polling loop, and polling loops, I think back in the days of assembly language, they were okay. But it leads to code that's very difficult to expand. What the promise is, Charlie, you wrap Charlie around this promise object, or you put him into the promise. So I say, Charlie, make me a promise that you'll bring the cookie to me. And Charlie says, I will bring you that cookie. And then you go, okay, I will trust Charlie to tell me when the cookie is ready. And so you wrap it in the promise, and then Charlie pops up with the cookie, and he emits an event cookie is ready, essentially, and then you do the thing you want to do with the cookie, which is to eat it. That's actually a little bit more complicated than that because there's the idea of, well, what do you do with chains of these promises? Like, once you have this promise here, what if you want to return another promise? What if you have 3 promises you're waiting for, and then all these promises have to become true? What happens if the promise is broken? What do you do to handle that? And then how do you write code that isn't this giant mess of checks and loops and conditionals and jumps? That's very difficult code to understand, and plus people never comment what their code models are anyway. So anyway, long story is that with promises, this promises to fix that problem. However, the documentation for promises is a little bit obscure. And anyway, so that was what I was having to deal with. It was somewhat gratified to read that like experienced developers like Gina Trapani also has this problem. She is also an old school, like yours is modern JavaScript for ancient web developers. Gina Trapani founded Lifehacker, if you remember that website, and now she's probably doing all sorts of cool things. Yeah, but she has had the same issue with promises. She said that it almost killed her or something like that. So, but now it's going, wow, maybe I don't suck as much as I think. So anyway, some of the other things that were bothering me were, how do they work? And then like what code style to choose. JavaScript is one of those languages in which you can be very expressive, and because you can be very expressive, you can do the same thing in a number of different ways. And some ways are more obtuse, like some of the modern JavaScript programming styles I see resemble to me they're more like some sort of haiku in which you need to understand all the cultural references to even understand what it's about. Whereas I'm more old school programmer, and I believe in kind of running big, long named objects with specific conventions that indicate the type of data it is, that has an appropriate action sound or a verb sound or a noun sound based on what role it places in a system in which I model using very carefully chosen names to represent what the model is and what talks to what, and then what is expected as a result. Apparently this isn't how people write JavaScript code usually, if you've grown up with the language. It's this poetry that they're writing, and I don't really like poetry. I like some things to be clear prose. So that's something that I've had to get around. And just looking at some of these code examples, for example, like with the promises I was talking about earlier, so I had eventually came up with a theory about how they really would be implemented. And because there was those magical things that were happening that the documentation and tutorials just kind of glossed over. So just do this, and then this happens, and you're good. And I would go like, how does this turn into that? It looks like this is happening, but how does it even know? And then I said, well, there must be some hidden code there, which is what you can do with JavaScript, that is doing some stuff behind the scenes and then delivering it to this. This must not be executing as in an immediate context. This must be being saved somehow, and there must be some kind of structure that's managing it all behind the scenes. It just looks like immediate code. Whereas in an old-style programming paradigm, you would be setting up configurations and passing them off explicitly as packaged objects or actions that would be executed in some sort of queue structure that you push onto. But you can actually hide a lot of that stuff with JavaScript code if you are clever enough about it. Anyway, so picking something that is understandable by me and that will also be understandable by other developers, since I'm a general purpose programmer that has very opinionated ideas about how to express ideas. And the coders I'm working with are probably of the older generation that are more used to this type of coding, rather than like, look at this elegant like structure that's referring to all these built-in, baked-in things that I have loaded secretly someplace else, that you need to understand the entire bootloading process to even know that this is not a language feature, that this is not, something that's a side effect of your transpiler, and blah, 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 blah. Ugh. I try to make everything as explicit as possible, but I also want it to be succinct like haiku. Or actually, no, I don't want it to be succinct like haiku. I want it to read clearly, like as Charles Bukowski said in this Poetry into Motion DVD. Poets can't write a sentence as simple as "the dog walked down the street." That's the kind of clarity that I want in my code when you're reading it. So anyway, and on a related note, there was a task Gloom was talking about. I just don't seem to handle a lot of tasks that are queued up. I mean, if I look at my queue on the co-working chat room at let me see, pull it up here. Load. That's on the wrong page. Let's go back to here, and let's go back to here. I've been keeping my to-do list in the accountability room. So over here, this is my queue for the day. So I have a new task: review a code submission from Ben, running the blog post, streaming Thursday's What's Update, which is what I'm doing right now, and various update-related things. This is at the point where there's too many lingering tasks, and I'm feeling a little bit self-conscious about, like, well, I'm just feeling this kind of pressure, this kind of, how would I describe it? I just don't like the feeling. I feel boxed in by these tasks. And I know it's irrational, but nevertheless, it's a feeling that pops up, and it tends to, if there's too many of them, I get depressed. I start questioning myself. Stuff like that. Anyway, one thing that was helpful is when I went to the gym today, I was listening to one of the TED Radio Hour podcasts. This one, Slowing Down. Let's just take a look at that. And there's a nice segment in here, the Adam Grant one. Can slowing down help you be more creative? And let's see, does my loop back work on this? I think I can actually play it. The sound should come back into the... Oh, I would also have to choose the loop back. So, is this coming out now? I can't tell. It looks like I broke the whole thing. Or is it working? No, it's not. I'll have to fix that. Anyway, I'll put this in the notes, show notes here. This guy Adam, what's his face? Adam Grant is what he calls himself a precrastinator, which is someone who doesn't procrastinate. He does the opposite. So when there's something that he has to do, like let's say 3 months from now, he does it right away because he cannot stop thinking about it, and it just bothers him to have this task on his head. On the other hand, like he's writing about how creativity actually comes out of procrastination for a certain type of person. It was a really interesting segment in this TED Radio Hour talk. I should post just the entire link. I'll do that right now in the chat. The Slowing Down episode. This is a rebroadcast. I'm just going through really old TED Radio Hours on my iPhone when I'm at the gym, listening to parts of them at the same time. But let me paste that in here so you can find it. It's also mentioned in the blog post link over here. So when this goes live, you'll be able to read up on it. I think that's pretty much it for today. I just noticed a typo in this. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Oh, let's open the mystery package before we're done. I know it's 18 minutes, and this is 3 minutes longer than I want, but I have no idea what this is. I hope it doesn't explode. I'm a little bit nervous about that because of those package explosions in Austin that were last week before they caught the guy. Like, who knows? Maybe there's copycats doing stuff in where I live. What is this? Did I order this a long time ago and it just came in, or? Oh, okay. I did order this. I forgot that this was a thing, and I didn't know that Lucy Bellwood was fulfilling through Cards Against Humanity. That must be their fulfillment thing. So this is what this is. 100 Demon Dialogues by Lucy Bellwood. Lucy Bellwood is a cartoonist, and this is about demons. Let's take a look at this. The premise is she spent 100 days talking to her having an internal dialogue with the demons that told her she couldn't do this or she couldn't do that. And I backed this like a year ago or something like this. So we'll take a look at this in more in depth sometime in the future. So here's one. You're shirking all your professional duties. How could you? Oh, come on. Where's your sense of adventure? So the demon is like the little voice in your head that tells you no or not or you can't. And then like her response is like, well, is to find ways of kind of pushing that down. If you keep waiting to start till 11, these are all going to be rubbish. Okay, first of all, how dare you? So I thought that this would be fun for having, just kind of a way of reminding myself, like not to be so hard on myself in a kind of fun cartoon format. And I thought this was worth backing. So I'll have to make that for Tuesday's blog posts. We'll go a little bit more in depth for that. I'm already pretty much finalized with today's blog post, and people can wait for it. It'll be fun then. So I think that's it for today. Some media updates as I put the new podcast is up for today. If you go to nanazon.com/podcast, which I might as well show you. It's Nanazon. If you go to the blog post, you'll find these links too. So I'll put the blog post link eventually in this description. But yeah, this is the one in which my friend Sid and I basically ramble on about movies and television. Sid just watched The Office, the American Office, for the first time, and he's like totally in love with Jim and Pam's relationship. And we talk a bit about zombies, and I'm not so into zombies, but Sid is super into zombies. And then we just kind of complain about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Cinematic Universe. And television in general and games in general. We're old cranky nerds just angry about the state of things. Like, always find something to complain about. Nerds of a certain age. Anyway, okay, that's it for today. I know this is going long enough. I hope you're having a good week. I'll be back on Tuesday. Update the blog post with this link. And it's back to work. Work with me. Hopefully I'll have finished this code module by next Tuesday. Otherwise, I will feel very embarrassed. So that's it for today. Have a good night, and I'll see you next week. Uh-oh. Did I just run out of audio?